So, how can somebody distinguish between the ego's voice and consciousness?
So the consciousness, the another word which is used for consciousness, and is very beautiful distinction being made in the Vedanta, is Atman, right? So Atman is the universality localized. Okay, so that is the fundamental sense of I amness. So you and I are talking, and
Mhm.
we are talking from a very connected place within our being. We can experience a certain level of unity. The listeners who are listening to us, they are only listening to us because they can experience certain level of unity, meaning they resonate with what we are saying. Otherwise they would have moved on to something else by now.
Mhm.
So if you're still on, there is a certain level of unity being experienced, yet within that unity there is also distinction. So we are deeply connected, yet we still have a unique aperture. Every listener listening has a unique aperture of understanding, of perception, of consciousness. That unique aperture in Vedanta is referred to as Atman, the localized universality. So the Atman then declares Aham Brahmasmi, I am totality, right?
Mhm.
So the Atman's nature is Brahman. Now the Atman has mind. So we have the experience, we all say, oh, my mind is crazy. No?
Mhm.
Oh, my thoughts, they are going crazy. Now, if the West materialist thinking believes that consciousness is an emergent phenomena, that even the I is merely nothing but emergent phenomena within the brain, then how can that I experience its own thoughts as distinct from it? Right?
Right.
Or
Right.
then the I also is a thought. So if I also is a thought, then who is the perceiver? But we know from the intimate experience of ourselves, we can have this experience that we can find ourselves actually as a distinct presence from the activity of the mind. So the I, chitta, is subtler than the mind. The mind is structured within consciousness, but the I, the pure I, is subtler than the mind. It is not to be found within the mind. The mind rather is to be found within the I. Now that mind has memory, that is manas. Because why does it have memory? Because there is in relative reality, there is the experience of time. And time means moving from known to the unknown, right? That's why we experience time, because we remember what happened yesterday. We don't remember what happened tomorrow. So we feel we are being dragged by this arrow of time. So there is manas, memory. That's one of the main reasons why we have time, right? Because we have memory, manas. And then the second is we have meaning making. We make meaning up, right?
Yeah.
We give things meaning, and that is called buddhi. That's from where the term Buddha comes, right? Buddhi is intellect, and Buddha is the awakened intellect. So buddhi. And then the third aspect of the mind is ahankara, or ego. Okay. So ego is the after effect of memory and meaning making, right? So the Atman enters relative field of reality, starts to experience space-time flowing within its own field of consciousness, starts to develop memory, interacts with parents, culture, listens to stories, listens to religious stories, listens to socioeconomic stories, watches television. All these words, our mind is a sponge, it is absorbing everything. Manas is being formed. So the child's eyes are wide open. As we are children, we are wide open. We
Mhm.
can sleep with our eyes. Our brains are developing at phenomenal rate. We are absorbing incredible information. From being incapable of speaking, in few years we start to make meaning up by putting sounds together.
Mhm.
And so all of a sudden language is born, and then through language stories are born. So mind generates that, and then the I am starts to be formed. Oh, I am American. Oh, and then we go to school, and then we find body. Oh, you are not good enough, you're not pretty enough. And then that I am, the Atman, starts to create this identity within its own mind, which is the ego, right?
Mhm.
So ego is a hallucination that Atman has. And in English, the closest word to it is soul. But soul often is sometimes can be misunderstood as an isolated self. the Atman is not isolated self. It is just the localized universality. And that is why in Vedanta, one of the Mahavakyas, the first great declarations of truth is Aham Brahmasmi, that I am totality. Who says that? The Atman says that. So it is important to have that distinction. When we are talking about Atman, we are not speaking of an isolated identity. It is a unique aperture to wholeness, but its essential nature is whole.
Right. So the concept of one, or the law of one, if you will, that we are all one, that our soul is a unique extension of the whole entity, as opposed to a separate soul that is lost in the universe somewhere and it's hiding in this body, let's say. It is just a unique representation of source, of God, of whatever you'd like to call it, of the whole. And that's the concept that seems to be coming up more and more, is that this idea of the one, that we are all connected. And Buddha's been talking about this since he came out, which is all creatures, all things are an expression, a unique expression of the source of God. From the ant to the blade of grass, they all have forms of consciousness, just different levels of consciousness. Like a blade of grass has enough consciousness to follow the sun, and the ant does what the ant does. So is that what you're saying?
Yes.
To watch the full video, click on the link below, and don't forget to subscribe.